Women Social Work Conference 2025 on the theme Green Technologies and Social Entrepreneurship, Pathways to Sustainable Livelihoods and Community Empowerment. Today's session aims to bring together some of the finest minds who are working tirelessly to make sustainability, innovation, and inclusivity a shared reality. Let us begin by extending a warm welcome to the chairperson of this session, Professor Biswajit Mishra, Pro Vice Chancellor, Centurion University of Technology and Management, Orissa. He brings over 3 decades of experience in higher education leadership, institutional governance, and academic quality assurance. His academic work focuses on environmental science and engineering. Sir, it's an honor to have your guidance for this thought-provoking session. Sir, please. Now, let us move on to the introduction of our speakers. Professor Monica Munjal Singh. Professor Monica is a veteran scholar in the social work education with expertise in women reproductive health, rural development, and applied quantitative analysis. Her career reflects a long commitment to bridging academic inquiry with community-based practice. Ma'am, I request you to please come forward on the dais. Moving forward, we have Professor Pranay Kumar Swain, a visionary academic leader who bridges technology and social empowerment. Sir, we look forward to hearing your views on connecting digital access with inclusive growth. Sir, please come on the dais. Our next speaker, Dr. Himanshu Shekhar Raut, brings inspiring perspective on integrating health, green energy goals through people's participation. He's an associate professor in the Department of Analytical and Applied Economics, Utkal University, with research interest in development economics, social sector economics, financial inclusion, and resource economics. Sir, can I have you on the dais? Up next, we have Professor Prasanna Kumar Patra, who has been working extensively with particularly vulnerable tribal groups, exploring how technology can uplift traditional livelihoods. Professor Patra is an accomplished anthropologist and researcher who coordinates the Center of Excellence in Studies on Tribal and Marginalized Communities at Utkal University. Sir, can I have you on the dais, please? Up next, we are delighted to have Mr. Bharat Bhushan, an eminent voice in people-centered development, who will speak on sustainable livelihoods and gender equality. Sir, can I please have you on the dais, please? Now I request Professor Monica to please come on stage and address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
So, good afternoon, distinguished panel members, faculty members, researchers, practitioners, students, and participants. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to chair this plenary session on green technologies and social entrepreneurship, pathways to sustainable livelihood and community empowerment. This topic is very much aligned with the vision and mission of our university. The tagline of Centurion University is shaping life and empowering communities. Centurion University being a skill university, its goal is for sustainable livelihoods and community empowerment through education and skilling. And if you see the spiral route of skilling, it is action, reflection, and improved action. Coming to the green technology, 30% of the energy consumption in our campus is from solar and around 5 to 10% from wind and biogas. Yesterday, our President, Professor Muktikanta Misra, has highlighted how waste generated are being utilized effectively in the campus. We have our biofertilizers and we have designed smart polyhouse in this regard. We have social enterprises under the name of Gram Tarang. It is the business model or strategies which addresses social, environmental and cultural issues by developing innovative and sustainable solutions. In today's rapidly transforming world, we are witnessing how innovation and entrepreneurship, when grounded in sustainability and social purpose, can profoundly reshape our development pathways. This session brings together eminent academics and practitioners who will share diverse perspectives on bridging the digital divide, enhancing community participation, empowering vulnerable groups, and preparing societies for the transition to green economy. We have a galaxy of resource persons. Professor Himanshu Shekhar Raut from Utkal University, Professor Monica Munjal Singh from Punjab University, Professor Prasanna Kumar Patra from Utkal University, Professor Pranay Kumar Swai from Niger, and Sri Bharat Bhushan ji from People's Section for National Integration. Now let us begin our session with the first speaker, Professor Monica Munjal Singh from Punjab University. Please, madam.
I'm really honored to be here at the Social Work Conference and give my presentation and share my views on the topic Sustainability for Community Empowerment, a Social Work Perspective. I've tried to put together what community empowerment means and what are the ways by documenting some pictures from the field, because for myself, I believe in research which is social action-based research, and I try to reach the unreached population and whatever gaps need to be filled. So we try to do that by reaching out to the community, and we all know that in the community, people's participation is very important because we work on ethical principles. So coming to my presentation. We all know that sustainability and empowerment are core pillars of inclusive development. In my presentation today, in the session today, also in the morning, I said that we as social workers, for us, it is not a few sustainable development goals, but sustainable development goals in totality, all the 17 goals. And when we talk about community empowerment, we ensure that people become drivers of their own growth. And social work as a subject emphasizes human dignity, self-reliance, and participatory change. Sustainable empowerment links economic security with social equity and environmental care. And as social workers, we all work in diverse areas, and no area of the society is left untouched. Addressing inequalities by strengthening community resilience and local capacity. We try to build the community by connecting them to the schemes, to the welfare policies, trying to have sensitization programs, awareness programs. Then when we talk about sustainability, sustainability, it talks about long-term social, economic, and environmental well-being, and focusing on resource preservation, equity, and resilience, encouraging intergenerational equity, benefiting for the future and present generations, and promoting ethical use of natural, social, and economic assets. When we talk about community empowerment, we try to develop the capacity of the people of the community, the agency, and build their confidence, enhancing decision-making power. Once you build the capacity, the people of the community have the power to decide for themselves, and they have access to the resources. And then ensuring that communities actively influence policies which affect them, building collective identity, solidarity, and ownership. Social work, and when we come to sustainable empowerment, we as social workers, we all promote justice, equality, and collective well-being. Our country, India, as India's constitution talks about the equality measures. There are so many articles, there are so many acts, there are so many legislative measures for all sections of the society, and we as social workers need to connect them. And in the community, after we do the community profiling, after we try to access the needs of the community, we try to link them to all the policies, schemes, and trying to create awareness and sensitization drives we carry on from time to time. Then empowerment oriented practice builds skills, leadership, and voices. Then focusing on the vulnerable, marginalized, and resource poor communities. Social work bridges community knowledge with professional practice and policy structures, integrating human rights, cultural context, and ethical principles in community development. These are some of the pictures from the field where the students of social work go to the communities, try to do profiling of the communities by dividing them into different sections of health, education, miscellaneous, try to understand their social cultural, what are the social cultural practices, then try to see how can we economically empower them, try to gather data. Then these are the conditions which are there in the community. These are some areas which are around Chandigarh, in Punjab, in Haryana, and then also the villages which are still the villages of Chandigarh UT, and they have not come under the municipal corporation as yet. And trying to understand, trying to get to the community, trying to reach out to them. Then when we talk about the global framework, the UN SDGs, they talk about, the first one talks about no poverty, third one talks about good health and well-being, fourth one talks about quality education, fifth one talks about gender equality, and 10th one talks about reduced inequality, and SDG 13 talks about climate action. I've just listed these ones, but like I mentioned that all 17 we are connected, we need to connect the community to all 17, because all 17 goals of sustainable development pertain and link up to the social workers, because we have to we work in all areas, so we cannot say this is not our area. So in the community there is sanitation problem, so that is also linked to the goal. We talk about women equality, that is again SDG 5, so on and so forth. And then this is the picture repeated, sorry. So core principles of sustainable development is participation and ownership, equity and inclusion, resource mobilization, cultural sensitivity, transparency, and accountability. So all these go hand in hand, because we have to mobilize the resources. We have to see, when we go to the communities, we have to talk about cultural sensitivity, and there has to be, if the community development has to take place, there has to be transparency and accountability at every step. And participation is the core principle or the base of community development or community empowerment. Until and unless the people do not participate, there is going to be no development. And the role of social workers. Social workers, they conduct community needs and set assessments, then facilitating leadership training and capacity building programs from time to time, strengthening the local governance bodies and community institutions, advocating for rights and link communities to services and schemes, and evaluate impact and ensure ethical participatory practices. So from time to time we have programs where we try to bring the religious bodies also holding their programs, bringing the people and connecting our students of social work with different, this is the Om Shanti people. With them, with their help, we reached out to certain communities where they try to help in prevention of drug abuse, alcoholism. Then there were certain drives for anti-beggary drives were taken, where the missionaries of charity sisters, they were with us and they tried to help. Then there is a program which we held at the missionaries of charity for the residents of the missionaries of charity home in Chandigarh, and we tried to connect the students and we tried to the sisters go and adopt whatever projects or programs are there. We try to involve them because they also try to reach out to the population and try to see that in what way can they empower them. So approaches and models used is the ABC model, asset-based community development, which talks about community, building the community strengths. Then participatory rural-urban appraisal. This is a model which has been used since ages, and ensuring community-led planning. Then right-based approach, ensuring dignity and participation of the community members at every step. Then livelihood and microfinance models, the SHGs, the self-help groups, cooperatives, and local enterprises. Like we talk about vocal for local. So same thing, trying to connect them, trying to sell their goods, trying to give them a platform. And the key strategies and practices are mobilizing the SHGs, youth clubs, community leaders. This is already in practice. Skill training, entrepreneurship development, digital literacy, then promoting eco-friendly practices, organic farming, waste management, then income diversification through micro enterprises, strengthening the grassroots institutions, holding GPDP programs, holding village health nutrition day, and trying to have remedial classes for the children of the schools. Then case illustrations, we have examples which it's known throughout the globe. People know about the Kudum Shri scheme, the Barefoot College, then Grameen Bank, then the indigenous community driven conservation models. Then this is a case where this man was staying in a community where he was his one leg was had to be amputated, so his family just deserted him. So this person was rehabilitated by the sisters, the missionaries of charity sisters, and they got his treatment done, and then he's still at their home. Then this is a camp which was done in one of the communities, and the doctor had given he had done a health checkup, and this is one of the child of a mother affected with HIV. So the Rakhi ceremony was held by us in the department. So indicators of sustainable development are enhanced local leadership and decision-making structures, reduce dependence on external agencies. If we wait that external agencies are going to come and do something in the community, I think there should be a reduction in that, and everybody should try to come forward and have that ownership. Then improved income stability and livelihood security, increased participation of women and youth in governance, then strong social networks and mutual support systems. Then collaborative partnerships, government welfare schemes related to health, education, livelihood, whatever schemes, policies, whether it's national, whether it's state specific, trying to connect that. Then NGOs and civil society partnership for advocacy and capacity building, CSRs related to bank for resources, technology and training. Then academic institutions for research and innovation support, international development agencies for technical expertise. Then there are lots of challenges if we talk about sustainability. There are limited financial resources and funding continuity. So trying to bridge this gap by tapping the financial needs, by connecting, there's so many philanthropists, there's so many organizations, there's so many CSR funds. So first trying to find out where and how can we connect them before making promises to the community. Then patriarchy, caste-based exclusion and cultural barriers, lack of awareness, low participation and trust issues, climate risks, disasters, and migration. We all know that how Himachal and Punjab, there were a lot of floods, and it's not to wait for the next year for another disaster to happen, to start planning and involve the social workers for prevention. Then digital divide and technology exclusion in rural and tribal areas. So these are certain other programs, pictures of programs which are done in the community. So future directions are integrating green social work and climate adaptation strategies, promoting digital empowerment and technology-based capacity building, strengthening youth and women leadership pipelines, encouraging social entrepreneurship and cooperative business models, evidence-based practice, impact assessment, and innovation labs. That's all for now. Thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Singh, for a deeply reflective and human-centered perspective on sustainability. Madam, you reminded that sustainability is not just about conserving resources, but nurturing relationship. Thank you. Now,
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those insightful reflections on how social workers can be powerful agents of sustainable change. Up next, we have with us Dr. Himanshu Shekhar Raut, professor at Utkul University, Odisha, an eminent academician known for his expertise in economics and community development. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us today. The stage is yours.
Respected chairperson of this session, esteemed panelists, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all. Before going to discuss about my topic, let me first thank the organizers of the 13th Indian Social Work Conference, especially Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sahu, for inviting me to this panel discussion. Friends, my core area of teaching and research is economics, especially health economics. And I influenced by Pradeep because he was my PhD scholar, so I went to social work to do something. So from that day, I have a relationship with the social work, and I learned many social work perspectives to this. And with this, I plan to speak something about green energy, health outcome, and community participation. Okay, what I will do in the next 10 to 14 minutes is to discuss the following points with some introduction. Then I can tell something how green energy, health outcomes, and community participation, they are related. And I will bring some evidence and pathways. Then I will give some examples. Of course, I am not involved in that process, but I can give some examples from the literature. Then what we can learn from that. Then I can give some policy implications and some future directions with a conclusion. The 21st century presents an unprecedented convergence of environmental degradation, energy scarcity, and health challenges. Traditional energy system, primarily based on fossil fuels, biomass combustion, contributes significantly to the air pollution, respiratory diseases, illness, and ecosystem collapse. At the same time, renewable resources, energy resources like solar, wind, bioenergy, and small hydro offer a cleaner, decentralized, and equitable alternative sources. The global shift towards green energy, especially renewable energy and energy efficiency and clean cooking, presents a transformative opportunity not only in the climate mitigation but also for improving public health and community well-being. These benefits are not automatic. It needs a deliberate design with community participation, community acceptance, and community ownership. Green energy transition can reproduce inequalities, create new environmental health risks, and fail to deliver sustainable livelihood. Integrating these health objectives and community voice into energy planning is therefore essential for achieving the sustainable development goals, which my previous speaker already spoke, but particularly the SDG 3, SDG 7, and SDG 13. So the three: good health, affordable and clean energy, and climate action. My next thing is I want to bring certain this evidence and pathways how these are related. If you'll see the green energy, health outcome, and community role, we are replacing the fossil fuel with renewables, and generally it reduces the PM 2.2, 2.5 and CO2, which especially the respiratory diseases comes in from our fossil fuel. And for this, the community role is community oversight and citing and environmental safeguards. We can go to clean cooking, heating, and which decrease the indoor air pollution, major reduction in women's and children's mobility. It needs participation of the community, which ensures cultural fit and sustained use of it. The local renewable energy cooperatives, generally many places we have cooperatives, this local renewable cooperatives, which gives many jobs, income to the people, which empower the people, which has better access to electricity, and electricity for the hospitals, clinics, schools, and the community role is here the community ownership. The community ownership models strengthens the governance and the trust of the public. Energy efficiency in the housing also is another channel in which it improves the thermal comfort and reduce the energy poverty part. It needs participatory design, ensures the affordability and equitability. I think the next part, friend, let us see what is the risk is there if the participation, community participation and the health outputs are overlooked. If we cannot look after this community participation and the health part, then there are a lot of risks if you only go for the environmental or clean energy part. The first is occupational hazard during construction and maintenance without proper safety measures. So for this, we require the community participation, and we should look after the occupational, we can also rescue from the occupational hazards. Displacement and loss of livelihood from large renewable installations, you know how it needs the community participation. We have to take the community into the confidence. The inequitable access to project benefits and electricity, whatever is there, if you involve the community, then I think it will bring benefits to all people. The fourth point is the pollution from poor waste management. You can manage that. For solar panels and batteries, people should conscious about that. Huge amount of pollution is there from this poor waste management. You can see also in urban also, even if how many this batteries, or you may tell the hospital wastes, how much we can produce. So it needs community participation and awareness. Then energy price shocks also for vulnerable populations during this transition. If you want to increase the price, you cannot do it at a time. You need the community participation, conviction. You should bring trust and bring them together. Then you can have this price shock, whatever price you want to increase, you can do this. Without early community involvement and strong safeguards, these risks can offset the very benefits of green energy which we should deliver. Let me come to some examples. Of course, there are international and national level experiences, but I am going to present some experience from Odisha and it is success story. Anybody from here from Gram Vikas? No, okay. Gram Vikas is a very good non-government organization in Odisha, which has done very good jobs. I can give some 3-4 examples how this green energy, health outcome, and the community participation brought happiness among the tribals, among the rural poor. One is Project Viva, which is community-led rural electrification and lighting. It benefited 272 households from tribal and vulnerable communities in the remote villages of Kalahandi and Gajpati. It aimed to provide 24/7 access to electricity, lighting solution, ensuring educational and livelihood benefits for vulnerable tribal community in Odisha. Another project is Solar Microgrid Renewal for Rural Lives and Livelihood. This project aimed to provide consistent access to high quality electricity by using modern technologies and effective community management of pumps, motors, and other electrical devices to bolster the rural livelihood of the Maligaon village of Kalahandi district. Community-led electrification in tribal regions, another project which aimed to provide a sustainable and robust drinking water supply using solar pumps for rural and far-flung villages in 120 households of 6 villages of Kalahandi district, and access to home lighting system for households not connected to electricity in these tribal areas where grid supply or the electric supply is very poor and unreliable. Another one is the small wind energy system for rural energy access from wind energy. This project installed 2 small wind energy system of rural electrification in 2 locations in Kalahandi district. The energy from the small wind energy system was made available to the community through the establishment of a community charging station and a local electricity distribution line. The project aimed to transfer skills and know-hows from Nepal to fabricate, operate, and maintain small wind turbines to the local manufacturers and user groups in Odisha. Friends, these are 3-4 examples I have given from the Gram Vikas model, but Government of Odisha also has many other projects. Different studies shows that 60% reduction in household PM 2.5 exposure, 30% increase in nighttime study hours among school children. These are the benefits from different studies. 20% rise in household income through local entrepreneurship, 10 to 30% higher adoption rates of clean energy technology, 20 to 40% greater health gains, especially reduced respiratory disease compared to non-participatory projects, where the project people participated, where the project people not participated. Lower project delays and disputes. If you have participation, it lower the project delay and disputes. Strengthen local resilience and trust in the institution. Project succeeded villages because village energy committees co-managed implementation, ensured equitable access, and reinvested profits into the local health services. The Odisha Solar Microgrid Initiative exemplifies how green energy system, when embedded in community governance structure, can produce tangible health, educational, and economic gains. By linking energy access to local empowerment and reinvestment in the social services, the model provides a replicable pathway for sustainable rural development, illustrating interconnectedness in the green energy, health, and community participation. I think I'll from these 3-4 learnings I can outline. One is participation drives sustainability. Health co benefits enhance accessibility. Revenue reinvestment is there if the community participation is there, their involvement is there, they accept it, they trust it, then whatever profit you can get, you can reinvest and foster for local resilience and sustainability. And another aspect is the gender inclusion amplifies the impact. Women's involvement improved prioritization of household needs and ensured the fair distribution. Let me come to the policy parts, how generally we can include it in the policy. We can integrate the health into energy planning. When we are doing the planning, energy planning, we can integrate the health aspect also. The two ministry, they should, together they should build this plan process. It requires health impact assessment, quantify the health co-benefits co-benefits and investment appraisals. The second point is institutionalize meaningful community participation. We are doing community participation, but that should be institutionalized. Some institutions should involve, some NGOs should involve, some social organization, even if some other government organization, they should involve those who bring this community mobilization, especially you are the main stream, social work stream, they can help in that community mobilization process. The third point is promoting equitable benefit sharing. The benefits should share equitably. When I am telling equitably, it should be equality with justice, and it require local employment and training quotas in renewable projects. Channel a share of project revenue into the local health, local education, and the infrastructure fund. We should support the community co-ownership or profit sharing. The fourth point is strengthen occupational and environmental safeguards, which implements strong safety and environmental regulations for renewable industries and supply chains. We should establish recycling and take back programs, like now the new concept is coming, circular economy, where the wastes can produce also the usable goods. From the waste we can do like the solar panels, the batteries, the electric wastes, and we should monitor the compliance through the community inclusive audit. The last, of course, the ensure energy affordability and inclusiveness, which designs the tariff structure that project low income households, prioritize off-grid and hybrid solution in underserved regions, integrate gender sensitive and equity focused policies in the energy program. In last point in this policy is the financing and investment priorities. Incentivize the projects that explicitly integrate community participation, and support for research and monitoring framework. We should have funds for this to support the research and monitoring of this linking renewable deployment with health outcomes. Establish green health indicators within the climate finance reporting mechanism. Encourage public-private community participation, and also we should build the capacity building of the community. So capacity building funds we should be created for participatory governance. Friends, the last is some future research priorities. We should give some importance to high quality longitudinal studies, which will for a long period. Generally we do the study 1 year, 2 year, but there should be baseline, midterm, end term. So longitudinal study we should go measuring health outcome before and after major intervention. Second, there should be comparative analysis also with the comparative analysis of governance and participation model. And we can have life cycle assessment integrating with the epidemiology to quantify health impact across the supply chain and waste handling. We should have also behavioral studies on technology adoption and sustainable use, especially like clean stove, and how participatory strategy influence the behavior of the people. The co-benefits framework that internalize health co-benefits and distributed equity into energy policy also we should have involved in that, and especially this needs a interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approach to address these issues. Friends, my last conclusion part is this green energy transition can deliver large health co-benefits through reduced air pollution, improved energy service, and strengthen social determinant. But remember, these are not automatic process, which I started with that. We need for that community participation shapes which technology are selected, how they are cited, managed, who benefits economically, and whether new risks are anticipated and mitigated. And integrating health into energy planning, institutionalizing meaningful participation, enforcing environmental and occupational safeguard make the difference between transitions that are simply green and those that are also health promoting and equitable. Empirical research using mixed methods is urgently needed to quantify these effects across context and inform the policy. Thank you for your patience hearing.
So, thank you, Professor Raut, for highlighting participatory approaches that connect renewable energy access and health outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your emphasis on community participation as the bridge between health and green energy truly highlights how collective action drives sustainable progress. Moving ahead, we now have with us Mr. Bharat Bhushan, the Executive Secretary of People's Action for National Integration, a respected social leader who has dedicated his life to empowering marginalized communities through sustainable livelihoods and gender equality. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today. The stage is yours.
सभी लोगों को नमस्कार। मैं उत्तर प्रदेश के अयोध्या ज़िले से हूँ और पिछले 40 साल से सामाजिक परिवर्तनकर्ता के रूप में 22 जिलों में अलग अलग मुद्दे पर काम संगठन के माध्यम से, जिसका पूरा नाम पीपुल्स एक्शन फॉर नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन है, छोटे में उसको पानी कहते हैं, उसके साथ जुड़ के काम कर रहा हूँ। लगभग 1500 साथी हैं जो गांव-गांव में इस काम को कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग मुद्दे पे काम कर रहे हैं। चूँकि यहाँ मुद्दा बहुत निर्धारित है, इसलिए उसी मुद्दे पे मैं बात करूँगा। जो भी हम लोगों ने ज़मीन पे करके सीखा है और उससे जो चीज़ें समझ में आई है वो आपके साथ साझा कर रहा हूँ, शेयर कर रहा हूँ, और उम्मीद करता हूँ कि हम सब लोग इसको आगे बढ़ने में आपकी मदद से कुछ और कर सकते हैं। जैसा कि अस्थाई आजीविका की बात की गई है, तो इसके लिए हम लोग कृषि आधारित आजीविका और कृषि के साथ पशुपालन आधारित आजीविका और कुछ जितना भी उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी का अभी के मौजूदा समय में जो टेक्नोलॉजी की आवश्यकता है उसका उपयोग करते हुए, और साथ साथ कृषि में पानी बचाना और किसानों को उसका लाभ कैसे खास तौर पे मिले, उनके साथ काम कर रहे हैं। करीब 2 लाख महिला किसानों के साथ हम लोग इन 22 जिलों में काम कर रहे हैं। तकनीकी आधारित है, टेक्नोलॉजी आधारित है, और सब टेक्नोलॉजी, लेटेस्ट जो टेक्नोलॉजी है कृषि की, वो उसमें इस्तेमाल होती है। जो कृषि में सबसे ज़्यादा पानी खर्च होता है सिंचाई में, इसलिए उस पर हम लोगों का ज़्यादा जोर है कि पानी बचाया जाए और उससे पर्यावरण का संरक्षण जो हो सकता है वो हो। आजीविका के स्थायित्व के लिए हम लोगों ने पर्यावरण की दृष्टि से तो कृषि और पशुपालन को अपने कार्यक्षेत्र के दायरे में रखा है, लेकिन जो युवा हैं, युवतियां हैं, उनको तकनीकी ज्ञान उनका कैसे बढ़े, जो गांव के स्तर पे पढ़ लिख करके कम शिक्षा में अपना जीवन अच्छे से निभा सकें, उसमें भी हम लोग उनका सहयोग करते हैं। उनको स्किल डेवलपमेंट से जोड़ करके फिर उनको अलग अलग उनके जो रोज़गार के स्किल जिस हिसाब से उनको मिली है उस पर वो काम कर सके, उसके लिए हम लोग काम करते हैं। इस तरह से 10,000 किशोरियाँ इस कार्यक्रम के तहत हमारे साथ जुड़ी और वो आज अपने अपने स्वावलंबन के साथ अपने अपने पैरों पर खड़ी हैं। तकनीकी सीख करके अलग अलग मुद्दे पर ऑटोमोबाइल का सीखा है, वेल्डिंग का सीखा है, संगीत सीखा है। ये सारी चीज़ें जो तकनीकी है उसके हिसाब से उनको हम लोगों ने मजबूत किया है सिखा के, और वो उस पर अपना आजीविका चला रही हैं और अपने परिवार को एक दिशा दे रही हैं। और ये सब गांव की हैं, दूर क्षेत्र की हैं, और इनके साथ हम लोग पिछले 10 साल से काम कर रहे हैं। तो अस्थायी आजीविका की अगर बात करें तो हम लोगों का जो अनुभव आया है वो आया है कि जो लोगों के पास हुनर है, तकनीक है, हर आदमी के पास कोई न कोई हुनर है, उस हुनर को बढ़ावा देना, उस हुनर में उसको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करना और उस हुनर के काम से उसको जोड़ देना और वो उसके बाद वो चल पड़े। तो ये अनुभव हम लोगों का है। और कृषि आधारित, पशुपालन आधारित हमने बताया कि महिला किसानों के साथ हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। इसी तरह से अगर हम देखें तो इन सब सारी चीज़ों में जो एक जेंडर इंक्लूजन की बात आती है, तो हमने अपने जो हमारी टीम है पानी की, उसमें ही अगर आप देखें तो 1500 लोग हम लोग हैं, 1500, उसमें से करीब 700 के करीब हमारी बहनें हैं, बाकी भाई हैं। और ये सब गांव स्तरीय कार्यकर्ता हैं। ये पढ़े लिखे बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन इन्होंने सीखा है, गढ़ा है, बहुत गढ़ करके इन्होंने ज़मीन पे लिखा है अपने काम को, और वो कोई भी जा कर के देख सकता है, देखता है तो लोगों को आश्चर्य होता है कि इस स्तर के, माने इस तरह के पढ़े लिखे लोग, इतना कम पढ़े लिखे लोग इस तरह से क्यों, कैसे काम कर पा रहे हैं। कोई डिग्री नहीं है, कोई डिप्लोमा नहीं है, साधारण हाई स्कूल इंटर पास हैं, लेकिन उनके हुनर को बढ़ाया गया और उस हिसाब से आजीविका का, अस्थायी आजीविका का काम आगे बढ़ाया गया। ठीक उसी तरह से विद्यार्थियों के साथ जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो किस क्षेत्र में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, उनका एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट क्या है, उसकी पहचान करना और उस पर उसकी काउंसलिंग करना और उसको उसमें उस दिशा में आगे बढ़ने में उसकी मदद करना, ये काम हम लोग करते हैं। ये संख्या करीब 5000 के करीब है इस तरह के बच्चों की, और ये आगे अपना बढ़ रहे हैं, पढ़ाई लिखाई अपनी कर रहे हैं, अच्छी शिक्षा कर रहे हैं, और सब ग्रामीण स्तरीय क्षेत्र में हमारा काम है, इसलिए सब ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के लोग हैं। उसी तरह से महिलाओं का सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप, 3000 सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप के साथ हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। करीब 90,000, 1 लाख के करीब उसकी सदस्य महिलाएं हैं। उनके छोटे छोटे उद्यमिता को विकास की तरफ ले जाने के लिए उनको ट्रेनिंग देना, उनकी क्षमता बढ़ाना, उनका एक्सपोजर करना, इस तरह से ये काम हम लोग कर रहे हैं। और ये जो महिलाएं बहनें जुड़ी हैं, ये सब बहुत अच्छे से अपने परिवार का देखभाल कर रही हैं और परिवार में उनका एक महत्व है इस कारण से। क्योंकि उन्होंने सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप के माध्यम से परिवार की आय बढ़ाने में मदद किया है। तो कुल मिलाकर के अगर हम देखें तो अस्थाई आजीविका का संसाधन, चूँकि गांव देश हमारा गाँव का है और कृषि आधारित है, तो कृषि आधारित आजीविका पर अगर गांव क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले हम लोग जैसे लोग अगर लोगों की मदद करें तो अस्थाई आजीविका का एक अच्छा रास्ता इस देश के लिए हो सकता है, क्षेत्र के लिए हो सकता है, समाज के लिए हो सकता है। तो ये अनुभव आप लोगों के साथ कुछ ज़मीनी अनुभव था, उसको साझा किया है। हो सकता है कि आप सब लोग इससे कुछ हमारी मदद करने में हमारी मदद करें, इसको आगे बढ़ाने में। तो आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। चूँकि ये शास्त्रियों का सम्मेलन था और मैं शास्त्री नहीं हूँ। शास्त्रियों से मतलब है कि प्रोफेसर, पीएचडी, मैं बहुत साधारण मिस्त्री हूँ, बनाने का काम करता हूँ और ये सब सीखा है अपने माँ बाप से और कुछ गुरुओं से और करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। प्रोफेसर संजय भट्ट जी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, ये जाते रहते हैं, इनसे मार्गदर्शन मिलता रहता है। ठीक उसी तरह से आप लोगों से अपेक्षा है कि जो भी आप लोगों को लगे हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें, जिससे हम अपने क्षेत्र के लिए, अपने प्रदेश के लिए, अपने देश के लिए कुछ कर सकें। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सबको मेरा प्रणाम।
भारत भूषण जी, तहे दिल से आपका हम शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं। आपने जो कृषि आधारित स्थायी जीविका के जमीनी स्तर पर काम किए हैं, इसके लिए ये बहुत सराहनीय है। इसके लिए आपको हम लोगों की तरफ से शुक्रिया और धन्यवाद।
Professor Pranay Kumar Swain, Dean of Academic Affairs at NISA, Orissa, a renowned academic leader whose work focuses on intersection of technology, education, and social empowerment. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today. The floor is now yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A little surprise. कभी रेत की ऊंची टीलों पे जाना, घरोंदे बनाना, बना कर मिटाना, वो मासूम चाहत की तस्वीर अपनी, वो ख्वाबों ख्यालों की जागीर अपनी। न दुनिया का गम था न रिश्तों के बंधन, बड़ी खूबसूरत थी वो जिंदगानी। ये दौलत भी ले लो, ये शोहरत भी ले लो, भले छीन लो मुझसे मेरी जवानी, मगर मुझको लौटा दो बचपन का सावन, वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी, वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी, वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी। I just wanted to wake people up. All right, on this note, day for yesterday was Kartik Purnima. It bears a huge significance for people who live in Odisha. So we had a musical night. So there was my teacher who sang this song, and I asked him, do you really mean it, what you sang? The song is full of metaphors. He said, of course, yes. Who doesn't like to get back those, life full of kagaj ki kasti and baris ka pani? What I did, I just took out his cell phone from his hand. I said, now we're back in your old life. I said, you just sang it, you said you meant it, now you mean it. I just took out his phone. So I just wanted to exemplify this since what I'm asked to talk about is tackling digital divide. Can you for a moment stay away from your cell phone? No. No. Okay, so the reason I had to live this metaphor, so I am not carrying my phone. My phone is there. And I don't have a PPT. So just to exemplify digital divide. So let's have a chalk and talk. I don't know whether you watch movies. There is a movie called Gods Must Be Crazy, a classic from 1990s. Please watch. It's available for free on YouTube. Digital lifestyle. So see, our life is now in 2025 surrounded by apps. You check your smartphone. How many third-party apps do you have on your phone? Check. Uncountable, right? Banking, food, films, you name it, your daily life. You get up early in the morning, you reach out to your phone. All of us. I'm not a hypocrite. I do it. I check my WhatsApp, I check my Twitter before I. So now you know your priorities. You're getting me? So a significant part of our lifestyle now is digital. We can't deny this. And I'm not for a moment saying, it's a double-edged sword, technology is a boon or a bane and stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm like, जो भारत भूषण जी बोले, सर जी हम शास्त्री नहीं हैं, I mean शास्त्री हैं by training and profession. आप मिस्त्री हो, आप 10 बनाते हो, सत नमन है आपको. हम लोग यहीं ज्ञान बांट के बोल के चले जाते हैं, आप जीते हो. So I'll try to follow, take a leaf from what you said. I'm taking you back to that movie primarily because that movie tells a huge tale in terms of something called inequality. And we are here, I think, everyone you listen to would somehow be connected to the very classic concept of inequality. This movie is about a sub-Saharan tribe, a group of people who had no idea about scarcity, community living. Gender roles were very prominently visible in terms of division of labor. The male folks will get up in the morning, go out to the forest, hunt, gather food and come back. Women folks would be organizing the habitation, taking care of kids, and then they'll sit together and eat. How simple is this life? वो कागज की कश्ती वो बारिश का पानी. Wonderful life, right? One fine day, something drops from the good sky, good heavens. A Coca-Cola bottle, empty bottle of a Coca-Cola drink, soft drink. How mundane is this when we talk about this in 2025? Something just dropped from sky. I mean, who cares? And as the movie would have it, it drops right in the middle of that habitation. Somebody notices it. They had no idea about life beyond that territory, which is a desert. They had no idea about civilization, which was apparently far away. Their life was very simple, all about, as I said, hunting, gathering. When we take back ourselves by, let's say, few thousand years, we were all on the same page. Now this bottle becomes an object of need for everyone. As in, I'm just cut to the next scene. The lady would need it for वो कैसे समझो मसाला कूटने के लिए, just to mash food. Somebody blew air into it, and it started, sounding well. So people thought it could be an object of entertainment. A male used this by accident, used it for sharpening the skin of snake, hunting gathering community. The kids wanted to play with that, kuch bhi, hide and seek stuff. Now you mark my words. A community which had no idea about scarcity now is struggling to own that. They're fighting. The next day, somebody threw it to another guy, yahan pe cut hua, bloodshed, and fast forward, the community sits together and imagines, discusses them among themselves. This is an evil object. It wasn't here with us, we were happy. Now this is the cause of problem for us. It brought unhappiness. Now the basic point that I'm trying to drive home is, inequality is essentially related to scarcity of resources, right? Till that point, the entire desert is theirs. They had no idea about private property. They had no idea about scarcity of resources. The entire desert is theirs. The animals, they were owned by them, the community. The food, the fruits, the trees, the kuch bhi were owned by them. Now here is one object. There is no ownership. It led to struggle. Typical Karl Marx theory. Getting me? Fast forward. The community decides, let's get rid of this. A problem that has been created by this object which is scarce in nature, we get rid of this. We'll be happy. Again. Right? So the community leader was given the task of going to the edge of the world and throw it away. Okay? For that, he has to find the edge of the world. Understood? World was flat then. So he sets out in the morning, keeps some foodstuff, and goes on Vasco da Gama to find the edge of the world so that he can throw it away. He doesn't find any, obviously. What he does, he digs a pit, puts the bottle inside, comes back home. Next day morning, he wakes up to noise and finds the bottle right there. And people are still fighting to have the ownership. So what the hell, how did it come from? I mean, where did it come from? उसका एक कुत्ता था. The dog thought कि मालिक यहाँ छोड़ के चला जा रहा है. He took it out and brought it back. Okay, so okay, that's beside the point. The point that I was trying to drive home is basically the scarcity of resources, which essentially leads to the concept, I mean, something called inequality or anything that is related to inequality. So at this time, in 2025, if we are still talking about inequality, well, absolutely in a different form, in a different manifestation of inequality, but inequality as a concept, as a metaphor, is always there. I mean, it's like saying, it's the language, the vocabulary that has changed, but the grammar has not. It has remained same always. I will, I have 15 minutes, right? Okay, 10 more. When I was working with, as a fresh graduate, I bumped into industry hoping for a good life. And I worked with a company called, not so big, not so well known, but I'm sure you all know. The company's name was Microsoft. I was handling their consumer research division in Bangalore, 2004-5. So I was handling a piece of project. The partner organizations were big market research firms like Forrester, IDC. They gave me a small PPT to work on, and it was on digital lifestyle. So I was wondering, what is digital lifestyle? Back in 2004, we had hardly any idea about a smartphone. We had no idea in India. We were still struggling with infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, unemployment, poverty, gross enrollment ratio, because RT was not known then. So my eyes popped out. I said, what is this thing called digital lifestyle? Then I heard something called a smartphone. I said, how can a phone be smart? Then I realized that in 2004, there were people who are using touchscreen phones, and when we hardly had access to that Siemens wala lamba with a big antenna. I remember in 2003 on Mall Road Kanpur, मैं किसी को पूछा कि भाई ये कोई सिनेमा थिएटर जाना था, कहाँ पे है? तो उसने यहाँ से फ़ोन निकाला एंड मुझे बताना शुरू किया, यहाँ से जाना ये वो, मैं वो तो छोड़ दो, इसको देख रहा था क्या है ये. सो ये फ़ोन है, he must be a rich guy. So asset ownership was defining richness or lack of it. Then I was wondering what could possibly be a smartphone. From that day to now, I don't know whether we have become smarter. The phone has certainly become smarter, right? A phone is no longer a phone, primarily because we hardly talk on a phone. Or when we go to buy a phone, how many of us actually ask, what is the kind of voice clarity that is available on this device? We worry about what megapixel of camera this phone has, what is the GPU, what is the CPU, uska processor speed kya hai, kitne GB ka RAM hai, is it going to support the latest apps available, whether it is whatever compliant. You getting me? So phone has certainly got smarter, right? Now, imagine the ownership of this phone and non-ownership of this phone. You getting me? So I'll be considered a poor guy if I don't own a smartphone. It's as simple as that, right? Roti, kapda, makan as basic needs do not define poverty or richness in 2025. What defines poverty is something else, like whether you have access to, whether you have free access to YouTube, music or video without those advertisements, whether you have got blue ticks on your Twitter handle, right? These are indicators of your richness, certainly not roti, kapda and makan. So the digital revolution, which has now transformed unprecedentedly our social life, has redefined how we learn, how we work, how we connect with others. I mean, from face to face to Facebook, it's been a long journey, but that is how life is right now. I mean, we heard Madam Monica, we heard Professor Himanshu, we heard Bharat Bhushan ji. Everyone talked about sustainability, community empowerment, capacity building, participatory decision making, equity, inclusiveness, and whatnot. But the metaphor that I am gonna leave you with is those need-based things. That reminds me of a story that we grew up listening to, How Much Land Does a Man Need by Leo Tolstoy, which also depict inequality in some way or the other, as in where does our need ends? As in, even if in terms of digital lifestyle, I don't know, I mean, see, if you talk about science and technology aspect of development and need-based development, human need, I would be very wrong, I would be very hypocritical if I say, human need should be given priority, not the greed. But boy, I mean, both need and greed are interconnected. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि रन बनाने का भूख नहीं है तो फिर how would you become a better batsman? So greed is always there. We just need to map whether that greed is mapped well with the larger societal development or goals. So the divide that we see right now in terms of two worlds, which is one is that is blessed with the sophisticated technologies in this digital world, and one which is not, and which is essentially creating a divide in terms of having over a million or millions of people excluded from the benefits and the services that come along with this new digital world. So it not just creates a technological gap, it also creates a profound social and economic challenge that is not any different from those classical inequalities in terms of having access, those three A's: availability, accessibility, and affordability of benefits. So before we try to understand this digital divide, let me redefine, or not redefine in terms of, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just telling you the wheel could look differently as well. So if you want me to explain to you how inequality can be reoriented or can be relooked, I would say it's the inability to access or effectively use the digital technologies that are available at this hours that creates exclusion. As in, we saw this work from home concept. I mean, life came a full circle due largely to this COVID-19 pandemic. This crisis-induced changes that we saw, it pushed us to a different world. As in, you saw online meetings, you saw online learning, the teaching, everything happened, on a different platform. There we clearly saw how access to a particular digital platform or lack of it created that divide, right? We had several debates over whether to take the classes to the online platform, impart education over online mode. Then we heard voices saying that how would you do it, because there are a huge segments of population which do not really have access to a device. Forget about device. Even if somebody can borrow a device, what about the services, internet access, pay for it? This is an unequal platform altogether. So people got excluded from essential services, economic opportunities, and participation also. I mean, also participation from democratic processes. As in, if I have to offer my opinion on a platform, opinion poll मान लो, या even registering on CoWIN, you could not have done without having a smartphone in your hand. How do you go to? They were not accepting you as a walk-in, a person who is there to have vaccination. You understand that the magnitude of the problem here. Basic services as basic as COVID vaccination was not even available if you did not really have CoWIN app on your phone and had not registered for it. You saw the clear divide. So I'm not getting to the numbers of global Indian context in terms of how many people are here, this side or that side. I'll just quickly. I'll finish with this quick thoughts. Why focus on youth? Because that's what my topic was on. I have digressed from my topic. So my topic was tackling the digital divide and social exclusion, empowering youth in this digital world, building inclusive, equitable, and connected future. I'm far away from that connection. So this digital generation, let me call them people from digital generation. If you are a part of this generation, you should be proudly flaunting your devices, of course, and access to. I would say, oh, you know what, I own this phone, and I have this internet connection, I have this many apps, I access. You go to Behra Dhaba to have lunch, come on. I order on Zomato. You go to the bank and stand in the queue to withdraw money. No, I have this app. You go to the bank with this many documents to apply for your personal loan, car loan, home loan. The bank comes to me. You go to stand in the queue to buy tickets to go for a movie. No, I have booked my show. Right? And I have this subscription, that subscription, which gives me big billion sale or Diwali Dhamaka. I have this. Okay, you enjoy the benefits of big billion day on this day. I am a Prime membership, so I get it 2 days earlier. So this is richness, that is poverty. So in this time, we should not be left behind due to structural inequalities in terms of digital platforms, in terms of availability of services, right? I'm not availing, that's my choice, but it should be available to me is what I'm trying to tell you. That is what, in every sense, development, participatory sustainability mean, okay? I mean, I should not be far away from the services and benefits of any development scheme that is there. And also in terms of in terms of skill. Now you know that you do not really need to go to classrooms, listen to Shastris like us to gain knowledge. We essentially don't really give you knowledge. We as in the so-called Shastris just tell you what is written in a book or what you may not be aware of in terms of knowing the source where it is coming from. So we don't tell you something that is absolutely out of the world. So the infrastructure gaps and affordability issues are something which is creating this which is widening this digital divide. And digital literacy and the content, I may not be as picky about these things, because I am sure all of us, I mean, बच्चा रोने से पहले तो फ़ोन मांगता है, तो I would not be so worried about this lack of digital literacy as such, because peer pressure के चक्कर में we become digitally very literate. I remember my second kid when he was like 3-4 years old. He would come to my mom and say, "दादी क्या कर रही है?" तो she would say, "अरे कौन सी जमाने की तू?" तो he would fix the problem. YouTube ऐसे खोला जाता है, यहाँ पे skip art किया जाता है. तो my mom will say, "अरे यार," I said, "No, it's not अरे यार. This guy is born to a different generation." So I would not say digital literacy is as much a problem as we have made it sound like. But yes, access is definitely, and availing those services definitely. Local language contents, I think, TikTok is banned, so let's not talk about TikTok. But those reels that you flood Insta and other things with, क्या यार, I mean, तुम्हारा generation ना Instagram को पता नहीं क्या बना दिया है. So the purpose for which Instagram was created, the purpose for which Facebook was created, the purpose for which Twitter was created is a distant thing now. So it has become a repository of entertainment. Yeah, of course, rightfully so and gratefully so. Let's hope and pray that the policy and implementation gaps in terms of these 3 A's that I talked about, availability, accessibility, and affordability, becomes a thing of past with adequate coordination and proper and timely flow of funding. Well, no matter how hard we try to convince ourselves, हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि money can't buy happiness. Well, if money cannot buy happiness, then nothing else can. You need money for every damn thing on this planet, including happiness. Or probably happiness is the first thing that you can buy with money. So, I'm from a science institute, so I know how obsessive my fellow scientists are for funding. But to be fair to them, no science, no technology can be done without money. So on this note, let's hope the government opens its treasury and provide need-based funding to end this debate of exclusion due to digital divide. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Swai, for powerfully highlighting the digital device, how it is related to social challenges that limits inclusion and opportunity. Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much, sir. To conclude the session, we are delighted to have Professor Prasanna Kumar Patra, so Associate Professor in Department of Anthropology, Utkal University, Orissa. Sir, we warmly welcome you to take the session forward and share your insights. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. I think very good afternoon. I think first of all, I would like to thank the chairperson of this session, Professor Mishra, my co-panelist and the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I think Professor Pranay has really set the tone, context for what I really wanted to talk. I think he said the digital divide. I think being a student of anthropology, I think I follow the journey of humankind, follow how human civilization and human as an animal, as a social being has traveled. I think if you look at different generations, the generation that is present in this hall would be, I think, to me, okay. Okay, I think the all of us who are present in this hall would be the, I would call this generation as the blessed one and the stressed one. As the blessed one because if you look at the entire human history, I think we are the generation which is living longer than any other generation in the past, starting from maybe Ramapithecus to Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and other our ancestors. Only in the last history of last 75 years tells us that our longevity was around 36 to 38, the time of independence, and we are living more than 70 in India. And in developed countries, economically, socially developed countries live longer than that, maybe 85 or so. And if you look at the technological advancement that we have made from using stone tools and some maybe 1.5 million years ago and rudimentary form of agricultural implements 10,000 years ago to so much of advancement in last few years. And we are also talking, if you come to our country, we say we are becoming the third largest economy very soon. But taking from Professor Pranay's talk, then there's a divide. I think we are talking about one world which is so aspirational, looks so bright, but there is another world, the world of PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. That is my topic today. In India, we have 700 plus communities who are considered as scheduled tribe. They're being scheduled in the presidential order as specific groups who need special attention. They're called scheduled tribes. Then among those 700 plus communities, there are 75 identified as particularly vulnerable tribal groups based on three main criteria. One, they live in pre-agricultural mode of economy. That means they are practicing hunting and gathering as main source of livelihood. They are pre-literate society because they're not into formal education. Literacy level is very, very low. And then their population is either declining or stagnant. So these 75 groups are identified based on these three criteria. And in Odisha, out of these 75 in India, there are 13 PVTGs who have been living. I think when we talk of technology, it's not that I think technology is all pervasive because it is affecting all the communities. And we have a sense that, am I audible? Okay. I think I'm closer to, okay. Yeah, I think it's okay now. Uh, s- so all these communities, I think they are also, because there are debates. Some people say that these communities are static, they don't change, but the mainstream societies are changing very fast. But as a student of anthropology, I interact with a lot of people from these communities, I do research on them. We see that they are also like us. As we want to change, as we want to play with technology, they also they want change, they want to use technology. And even their rate of change would be much faster than us. If you look at the different kinds of transition that is taking place in these communities, whether it is socioeconomic transition, or it is technological transition, or population transition, or health transition changing. I think if you look at them in last maybe 20 to 30 years, because all these changes are coming from two sources. One is the intrinsic change, the change coming from within the community, and the change which is extrinsic, maybe dictated by the outward force. Mainly it is state-sponsored changes. I think look at their livelihood. All these PVTGs, their livelihood is usually dependent on forest. 100% of their livelihood used to be from sources derived from forest, either hunting or gathering. But now, because of states, different kinds of development programs, state-supported change agents have made them, their dependency on forest has drastically reduced. Then there is PDS system through which foods and other support system have been provided to them. House buildings, technological support systems, all these things are bringing some kind of change. Now, social scientists, as a social scientist, we need to ask whether all these changes are desired and for whom this development or these changes meant, whether the people want these changes or not. I think there are different kinds of opinions. Some people feel that they need to be left to themselves to decide what kind of change they require, and some say that you need expert intervention to guide or to shape the changes. These are different issues. But what I would like to focus here is some technological interventions that has been made on these communities and what are the repercussions that it has. I work specifically on health issues. One of the changes that I would give an example from the Juang community of Keonjhar. I think the Juang communities are a kind of state of transition from hunting, gathering. They are into, some of them are into early stage of agricultural mode of economy. And what the government did is through SAGs, they promoted making of leaf plates. So women who are making leaf plates, they earn little bit of more money. So they sit there for maybe 6 to 8 hours per day in making those things. So what is happening because of this change is they are kind of having lifestyle related disorder. The central part of their body, they are having central obesity. So obesity is, I think, we know that when we look at the epidemiological transition, the change is taking place. You see communicable disease, because there are three kinds of diseases. One is communicable diseases, which are contagious in nature. There are non-communicable diseases, which is otherwise known as lifestyle disorders, like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, mental illness and others. And there are genetic disorders, which are inheritable in character. So, but typically, in the tribal, specifically the PVTGs, communicable diseases and genetic disorders are the most prevalent disease profiles. But now in last 10 to 20 years, we see there is a transition in these disease profiles. Now they are also increasingly affected by these lifestyle disorders or non-communicable diseases. So the question is how it has come to them. Is it because of the developmental push? Is it because of the technological advancement that is taking place? Is it because of the transition in food habits? So all this needs to be factored, and now we have to see how technology can also minimize being equity and minimize all this divide between these two. I think there are certain examples uh, being experimented in many PVTGs. One is uh, the kendur leaf that many PVTGs are using. The government is giving them drying machine so that during rainy season and off seasons when there is no sunlight, they can dry the leaves and then use it. And there are number of health intervention tools being used to do health related studies on them. And there are also GPS systems, GI based systems to map all those minor forest produce that is available, like honey collection, like different kinds of resources, green vegetables and other things that is being promoted in PVT's areas. And you will also be astonished to understand how much the PVT's young children, especially adolescents, are using smartphones. Because we had one project to look at how much time they're spending and what kind of content they are viewing. And you'll be surprised to see that they are also spending 4 to 8 hours a day on smartphone, the young PVTG kids, in areas where there is internet access, not in all PVTG areas. But there is a divide between different demographics, like old people and young people. But then what kind of implication it has for them? I think that needs to be factored. And then I think there are issues like how technology can be utilized to bring some positive changes, so-called positive changes to their livelihood patterns. And then also to their heritage. For example, the tangible, intangible cultural heritage that many PVTGs they have with regard to, because most of them, they do not have their script. They don't have their language, but they have dialects. But many of the folk literatures, they have folk songs, folk music, and ethno-medicinal practices, all these things, and maybe weather-related predictions and other indigenous knowledge system. Those knowledge systems are vanishing very fast because old people, old generation who used to be the beholder of this knowledge system are dying. And young children, they are not interested to learn many of the lifestyles of these communities. So the question is how technology, which is bringing the divide, and also technology can be used to document and to preserve and conserve those knowledge systems that these communities hold. I think that becomes the biggest challenge. So from social science point of view, there are different, I think we are confronted with a lot of questions, whether technology is good or technology is bad or technology is value neutral, and then whether how much technology should be promoted as an extrinsic factor and who should control it, what should be controlled, what should not be, and then how to bridge the gap between this technological divide among the demographics within the community, and how technology can be used to promote livelihood sustainability among those groups, and then what are the methods, tools, and techniques used to document, to preserve and conserve all those tangible as well as intangible cultural heritage that this community hold, and before they get vanished, maybe in coming to 1 or 2 decades. I think these are the questions that we are confronted with. We do not have answer to many of the questions, but we have only questions to really ponder over and then to find out. Maybe the young minds who are present in this hall, maybe they should be fascinated by the technological advancement of a country is happening, but they should also be aware that there is another there are a group of people who live in a different kinds of world, and what should be done so that the technological divide can be minimized and equity and all those values that we talk can also be delivered, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Patra, for your insight how technology can become tool to empower PBTGs. Thank you. Now it is the question answer session. Please continue.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we open the floor for a short interaction session. If you have any questions or reflections for the speakers, please raise your hands and the mic will be passed to you.
No. My name is Smita. I teach here. So I just wanted to know, this last speaker, I'm very fascinated because I also work among the PVTGs, and particularly in South Odisha. And I have worked among the Juang when I was doing my PhD. Yeah, that was many, many years ago, among the Juangs and the Lanjia Sora. Yeah, where I was looking at forest degradation and changing livelihoods. Changing livelihoods and gender relations, but that was many, many years ago. But now what we see, you know, even the classification, that I think the criteria they have kept for classification of PVTGs, that is questionable. Yeah, there are no more PVTGs when you yourself said that, you know, they are, of course they have access to everything now. There are some people who don't have access, but there are many who have access. Yeah, they are also getting educational opportunities, employment opportunities, and government is trying to do certain things, and also many educational initiatives are there in the state, I know of. Yeah, they are helping them, because in certain areas they have really nothing to lose. So with any kind of input, they are able to make, you know, go really far in terms of education. Yeah, I can give you one example of the Chlorophyll Foundation. I don't know how many of you know about Chlorophyll Foundation. It works with tribal groups in Bisamkatak area, in Raigada district, and some other. So they have been really been able to make a difference there, yeah, which government schools have not been able to do anything. Right? Now coming back to, you know, bridging the divide, you don't need to. It will be, I think, वो कहते हैं ना, अपने आप हो जाएगा, you know. And let me tell you, I mean, do you feel? My question is, do you think that those who do not have access to all this, right, are they really losing out? Yeah, are they really losing out? Are they really, because anyway the next generation is going to change. Yeah, you're talking about the older generation. You said the demographic, that difference is there. Yeah, the old people do not, you know, they don't know how to use a mobile phone, but their children can, or their grandchildren can. So are they really losing? And if they had it, what benefit would it give them that they do not have now? Yeah, I mean, just thinking aloud of these questions, about these questions.
Hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, madam, for this question. I think I do not have a straightforward answer to your question that can satisfy you. But yeah, the first part is the nomenclature. I think my own judgment about the classification and the criteria for classification, strictly looking at it, I think none of the PPTs would be fulfilling all those three major criteria. I think none of them, because they have moved away from them. But yes, but if you look at the spirit of those classifications or the criteria, I think that's still valid, because there are many of them, they still need, I think, supports from the state for their livelihood. Second part, I think whether they would be happy for that, I think one, because technology is all pervasive, and technology is also very much useful as a tool to move ahead in achieving something being defined by what in social science, especially in anthropology, we say emic and etic perspective. Like one is people's perspective, insider's view and an outsider's view. As an outsider, you are an outsider, I'm an outsider. For us, this is the developmental ladder. This should achieve, they must achieve. This is what we feel. But it's very interesting and very important to ask those people, what do they want? Do they want to really climb up in that ladder that we have prepared for them or we have charted for them? or they have their own standard. I think within the community there will be difference, because the old generation are very happy with the kind of life they have been leading. But the young generation, like any other young people from the so-called mainstream, they would also like to join. They would also like to have good food, because in PDS system, maybe millet is, for example, say small example, millet may be very healthy, and now the government is promoting millet as a healthy food, nutritive food. But if you ask majority of the PVTG young people, they say why you yourself take rice? Rice is sweeter than millet. Why should you tell us to take millet? We will take rice, because they know that rice is unhealthy, but still. So this is a very difficult question to answer. Only if you look at the emic and ethic view, maybe you will be satisfied. Otherwise, difficult.
Yeah, it's actually, I tend to agree with Smita ma'am's perspective. Are we the custodians of development parameters? No. Exactly, no. So what Prasanna Babu said, but then at the same time, can we leave it to each and every population segment to define for themselves what is good for them or what is not? On a rather funnier note, I was trying to compliment by saying every generation thinks it's smarter than the preceding one and more intelligent than the upcoming one. So there lies the problem.
Anyway, this is
Okay, so thank you, madam. So we can take one more question because we are running out of time. Yeah. So with this, so we conclude here. It is really a rich and thought-provoking plenary session. On behalf of 13th Indian Social Work Conference 2025, I extend my thanks to all the panel members and the participants for your active support and participation. Thank you.
Now, to express our gratitude, we would now like to felicitate our distinguished resource persons for their valuable contributions to the plenary session. I request our chairperson, Professor Biswajit Mishra, Pro Vice Chancellor, CUTM, Odisha, to kindly do the honors of felicitating our respected speakers. I kindly request Professor Monica to please step forward and receive the token of appreciation. I request Dr. Himanshu to step forward and receive the token of appreciation. I request Dr. Bharat Bhushan to kindly step forward and receive the token of appreciation. I request Dr. Professor Swain to please come forward and receive the token of appreciation. I request Professor Prasanna Kumar Patra to please kindly step forward and receive the token of appreciation. Thank you so much, sir, for graciously stating our speakers and for presiding over this session with such warmth and encouragement. As a token of our heartfelt appreciation, we would now like to felicitate our chairperson, Professor Biswajit Mishra, for his invaluable guidance and constant support. I request Professor Pranay Kumar Swain to kindly do the honors of felicitating our respected Pro-Vice Chancellor. What a remarkable set of perspectives, from sustainability and social work to energy transition and gender equality. Each talk today has strengthened our understanding of how green technologies and social entrepreneurship can shape a more empowered tomorrow. On behalf of the organizing committee, I sincerely thank our chairperson, Professor Biswajit Mishra, and all our distinguished speakers for their invaluable contributions. I also thank the audience for your attentive participation and thought-provoking engagement. Let us continue to carry forward the spirit of collaboration, innovation, and compassion that this session has beautifully embodied. Thank you, everyone.